Imagine waking up the morning after the best night of your life. You are finally married to your best friend. The dress was gorgeous, the food was incredible, and you danced until your feet hurt. But as you sit there having your morning coffee, a heavy, sinking feeling hits your stomach. You look at your phone and realize that yesterday's party just cost you an average of $30,000. You are starting chapter 1 of your marriage with a massive mountain of debt. We need to have a real talk about weddings. The wedding industry has completely convinced us that if we don't spend the equivalent of a down payment on a house for one single day, we somehow don't love our partner enough. But here is the cold, hard data. Consistently, one of the top reasons for divorce in this country is money problems. Starting your marriage broke or drowning in a boatload of debt just to impress people you barely see is setting a trap for your own future. A beautiful wedding does not require a broken bank account. You don't have to sacrifice elegance, but you do have to become an architect of your own budget instead of just consuming what the industry sells you. Today, I am giving you 5 unbreakable wedding budget rules. If you implement even a few of these, I guarantee you will save thousands of dollars, protect your peace, and start your marriage on a rock-solid financial foundation. Let's dive in. When you start wedding planning, the venue is usually the first big check you write. The average couple spends over $5,700 just on the venue. You might look at that and think, okay, that is expensive, but I can swing it. But here is the massive hidden trap. Many of these venues hold you hostage. You fall in love with a beautiful location. You put down your deposit, and then they drop the bomb on you. You have to use their exclusive catering service, their mandatory bar service, and their approved florist. Suddenly, that $5,700 venue actually costs you an extra $15,000 because they charge insane markups on every single meal and drink. If you want to save money, rule number 1 is to skip the all-inclusive venues. You want a venue that allows you to bring in your own outside vendors. Look into government-owned buildings, recreation centers, city halls, or public parks. Many of these places feature stunning, elaborate architecture or beautiful gazebos for a fraction of the cost. If you absolutely fall in love with a traditional venue, you must negotiate a refundable deposit window. Do not sign the final dotted line until you get quotes from every single vendor they force you to use. Protect yourself before you get locked into an overpriced contract. Food and drinks are usually the biggest expense of the entire wedding, averaging over $8,000. But if you chose a venue that lets you bring your own food, you just unlocked the ultimate cheat codes. First, consider drop catering from a local restaurant you actually love. They simply cook the food and drop it off. You will need a plan for your family or a hired crew to bus the tables, but it is vastly cheaper than traditional wedding catering. Another incredible option is hiring a food truck, but you have to be smart about it. Limit their menu to just 2 or 3 items. If you have 150 guests, you want to make sure everyone is served in under an hour and a half, so nobody is left hungry and angry waiting for their food. And here's a secret weapon almost nobody thinks about. Reach out to a local culinary school. Having culinary students prepare your food, overseen by their program administrators, can literally cut your catering bill in half, and your guests will never know the difference. Now, let's talk about the wedding cake. People spend over $500 on a cake that half the guests won't even eat. Here is the ultimate hack: fake layers. Have a baker make a gorgeous display cake where only the very top tier is real. You and your partner cut the real part for the photos, and then in the back kitchen, your staff cuts up a delicious fresh-baked sheet cake from a grocery store, like Whole Foods. You save hundreds of dollars and the pictures still look flawless. Let's talk about alcohol. If your venue allows it, take yourself straight to Costco and buy everything in bulk. But whether you provide it yourself or use a vendor, you need to stick to beer and wine only. Do not feel pressure to have a full open bar with expensive hard alcohol. Doing signature cocktails like a bride's Moscow Mule or a groom's whiskey sour is a massive budget killer. Hard alcohol requires a million different mixers, garnishes, and specific glassware, which skyrockets your costs. Stick to 2 wines and a few beers. To save even more, serve your sodas and beers in cans so you don't have to rent extra glassware to pour them into. Now, prepare yourself because I have to tell you the hardest truth about wedding budgets. Your absolute #1 budget killer isn't the flowers or the dress, it is your guest count. Every single person you invite adds costs for food, drinks, chair rentals, and invitations. If you truly want to cut costs, consider booking your wedding on a Friday or a Sunday. Yes, it makes it less convenient for some guests, and yes, fewer people will be able to attend, but this is an emotional choice you have to make. Do you want to spend thousands of dollars extra just to make a Saturday party convenient for distant relatives, or do you want to protect your financial future? If fewer people come, you spend less money. It is pure math. Let's talk about rule number 4, buy, borrow, and barter. The wedding industry wants you to believe everything you touch on that day must be brand new. That is a lie. If a friend got married a few months before you, ask to borrow their signs, their card box, or their table numbers. 98% of your guests will have absolutely no idea that you didn't buy them brand new. Get creative and barter your own skills if you are a graphic designer. Offer to rebrand a photographer's website in exchange for wedding photos. However, be incredibly careful with DIY projects. Follow the 40-60 rule. Do a maximum of 40% DIY and leave the other 60% alone so you don't lose your mind. And a massive warning here. Never, ever buy your own tablecloths to save a few bucks. You will spend hours ironing them the night before your wedding and you will absolutely hate yourself. Just rent the linens. While we're talking about saving money on physical items, let's talk about the rings. The idea that you have to spend an arm and a leg on a natural diamond is a myth started decades ago by the De Beers Company to artificially inflate prices. Do not go into debt for a rock. Look into lab-grown diamonds. They are the exact same molecule as natural diamonds, but they cost 60 to 85% less. Unless you are planning to get divorced and sell the ring, resale value does not matter. Keep that money in your bank account. Our final rule is the memory audit. You have to ask yourself what you will actually look at 10 years from now. People spend over $2,600 on average for flowers. You can drastically cut this by buying bulk flowers from Costco. Carnations can be as cheap as 60 cents a stem. Better yet, mix in lots of greenery like long strands of eucalyptus. It gives an earthy, laid-back vibe and is vastly cheaper than full floral arrangements. And always ask your coordinator to repurpose the flowers from your ceremony space by moving them to your reception tables. You only pay for them once and nobody will notice. Finally, the photographer. The average couple spends over $2,200. But ask yourself this, do you really need a photographer there for 10 straight hours? Do you genuinely need hundreds of photos of your friends getting progressively drunker on the dance floor late into the night? Probably not. You can cut your photography bill in half by simply hiring them for 4 to 6 hours to capture the getting ready moments, the ceremony, and the first hour of the reception. A wedding is an incredibly emotional day, and it is easy to let the excitement turn into a blank check. But your wedding is just the opening scene of a massive movie. You are not just planning a party, you are architecting a marriage. Every time you say no to an overpriced vendor, a signature cocktail, or a massive guest list, you are saying yes to your future. You are saying yes to a down payment on a home, to traveling with your partner, and to peace of mind. Lower the bar for the party and raise the bar for the marriage. Apply these 5 rules, protect your peace, and start your real life together as a team. See you in the next one.